Kevin Warsh obviously has a good chance of getting it, and Paul Krugman is coming from a particular place when he says that he's been wrong about everything. What would he be like as a Fed chair?
I think he'd be just fine, and Krugman knows from whence he speaks, because he's been wrong about lots of things himself. I'm sure he would admit to that. Warsh has been worried about inflation. He's been worried about overspending for buying securities and things like that. Overall, however, I think he was a 35-year-old, youngest Fed governor, I think, of ever appointed. I think he'd be fine. I think the market would probably take it all right. I think bonds would trade off because the bond market believes he's going to accelerate, the unwinding of the portfolio. Having said that, if Mr. Powell, who's the odds-on winner as of last night, by a nose, is one who would probably get a thumbs up from the markets. But Mr. Taylor is probably the only one who, he's the third name in the mix, and he hasn't been mentioned recently, so I don't expect him to. But the markets might have a little bit of a problem with him on the equity side. Because
he would almost certainly just raise immediately. Michael.
Yep.
What are we going to hear about the balance sheet unwind today, about the debate surrounding it, and whether there is sort of a lot of dissent in any particular way, shape or form on this?
I think we're going to hear the word gradual used on this set many times after they start talking about it with the new Fed head. I think that no matter who gets in there, it's not in anyone's interest for them to be aggressive and stupid in terms of disrupting the markets, Funny.
Michael, can we just move on to some individual companies? GE, of course, you own the stock. Busy times. We've had Trian's Ed Garden, of course, appointed to the board just 3 days after GE announced the exit of a trio of its senior executives. I'm looking at the stock. It's down by 27% year to date. I mean, are you happy with your shareholding or not?
Oh, I couldn't be more delighted, Mark. Thank you so much for that. Yes, it's been a painful ride. I actually believe Mr. Flannery is probably a good CEO. I believe that the board is actually, if you look at the people on the board, it's a strong board. Having said that, it's been one of my worst performers in years. Fortunately, I own things like Walmart and Johnson & Johnson to help offset at least part of the decline. But having said that, I think that what people will be looking at in Flannery's November speech to the community is, to what extent is he going to safeguard the dividend? JP Morgan came out last night, said they think it's going to be cut. If it's going to be cut, it's a $20 stock, they say. Having looked at the power business, they think that the cash flow from that is being hurt. The cash flow has been a subject of discussion, or lack of cash flow, for a couple of years now. So I think that overall, people are going to be looking at the sum of the parts, probably more than where the stock is today.